pretend, so I think this is one hole here and this is one hole here. So we'll say this is our vein and artery. Okay, so I'm gonna try to inject kind of in line. So I like to go start out, just if this was a patient, so you've numbed up their skin already, and now I'm going in with my needle. I'm gonna start out with my needle being very superficial. I'm gonna pop through the skin really superficially until I can see it pop up on my screen. There we go. So you can see how superficial I am. That's my needle coming into view. Do you guys see that bright white hyperechoic line at the top?
Yeah.
So you can see I'm pretty superficial. I don't see how you, I'll show you this way too. My angle is pretty superficial. Is that one filled? Yeah, it's a lot clearer. So to avoid the vessels, I'm just coming in really superficial, right? So there's my needle coming into plain view. And you have to kind of, with inline, you kind of have to rock it's subtle movements. It's rocking your ultrasound kind of forward and backwards until you see that full picture of your needle there. So, because you have to kind of keep right there. But you can see the tip of my needle, and you can see now that I can guide it. And this is a lot easier on an actual human being, and not using it through gel, but so I can kind of guide my needle. Kind of adjacent here, right? So now let's pretend I'm in the right spot. I've gone where I think my femoral vessel is. I'm going to aspirate to make sure I haven't accidentally gone through one of these vessels. I'm not in a vessel, another vessel. If I don't get any blood back, then I'm going to inject a little bit of anesthesia. You can also inject saline first if you're like really concerned and don't want to risk injecting all your anesthesia yet. You could trial with a saline flush just to see if it's in the right spot. And then if I was injecting this and this was a proper model, you would see that space filling, and then I could say, okay, it looks like I'm in the right spot, or it's not, I'm getting a lot of resistance, I'm probably in the vessel, I need to adjust my needle. And you can see how easily it is to see on your vessel. Maybe I need to advance a little bit, maybe I need to pull back. Looks like my needle's too deep, right? Maybe it's getting close to a vessel. Pull back. Maybe I need to anesthetize here. And so it's really important to keep picture. You can see my needle tip. This bright white, so this is actually my needle. This gel is gonna, this is a shadow. This is no longer my needle. You can see my needle tips up here. Unfortunately, this gel will retain like a memory essentially of my needle track. So this is where my prior needle track had been. So I'm sorry if that's confusing, but you can see how though I'm able to really easily, clearly see where my needle is at all times in this inline, and I'm able to guide it directly where I do. So I always enter really superficially until I can see it clearly under my ultrasound, and then I'm guiding it directly towards where I want to go. The only other kind of key with doing inline is that sometimes if you're not perfectly kind of aligned with your needle, let's see if I can move down a little bit. You can think that you're seeing your whole needle, but you're not. So let me just get off a little bit. Let me just advance. So you can see my whole needle there. So maybe if I'm off here a little bit, I'm not quite on center. It looks like, oh, my whole needle is just at the tip, but really then when I get it fully in line, you can see that my needle is actually deeper down than I thought. So just kind of making sure that, again, like with any kind of ultrasound guided thing, that you're keeping your needle tip in view, and then I can advance it. I can increase my depth. This will let me. Guide it back. So